I want to tell you a story today, and it's all happening in Idaho. But really, it's a story that's playing out all across America. It's about two massive forces that are on a collision course: a brand new controversial law and a revolutionary technology. And this isn't just some abstract political debate, you know? It's about how the choices we're making right now are creating two totally different futures, right next to each other, in the very same state.
So let's meet the two main characters in our story. On one side, you've got this sweeping new law, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025, or OBBBA for short. It's a huge piece of legislation that's completely reshaping taxes and social programs. And on the other side, the explosive rise of artificial intelligence, a technology that is literally remaking our economy as we speak. So what happens when these two finally meet?
And Idaho? Well, Idaho is the perfect place to watch this whole experiment play out. Why there? Because it already has America's economic extremes packed into one state. You've got the booming, high-tech hub of Boise on one hand, and then these vast rural heartlands that are built on agriculture on the other. It's already a state of two different worlds, which makes it the perfect place to see who these powerful forces are going to lift up and who they might just leave behind.
Okay, so first, let's really get to know these two forces. How exactly are this new law and AI setting the stage for such a complicated future in Idaho?
All right, first up, OBBA. You got to think of this law as having two very different faces. For businesses, it's great news. It makes those big 2017 tax cuts permanent. And for some workers, there are new but temporary breaks on things like overtime. But, and this is the crucial part, how does it pay for all this? Well, by cutting social programs like food assistance and, oh yeah, adding an estimated 3.4 times trillion dollars to the national debt.
And happening at the very same time, the AI age is just taking off, and it's happening way faster than anyone really predicted. I mean, some projections say that by 2030, nearly a third of all U.S. jobs could be automated. Now, the promise there is incredible productivity gains, but the threat? Massive job disruption. It's such a big deal that the government is already scrambling to put together action plans for skills training.
So how do these two forces actually play out on the ground? For real people. Let's go visit the first of our two Idahos, starting with the folks who are clearly winning in this new reality, the booming, tech-heavy world of Boise.
And what does that boom look like? Well, how about this number? Over 17,000. That's how many new jobs are expected by 2027 from just one company, Micron Technology, as it expands its semiconductor plant there in Boise. I mean, this is a city that is absolutely on fire.
And this new law, OBBB, is just pouring gasoline on that fire. It's pretty simple how it works. The permanent tax cuts mean companies like Micron suddenly have a lot more cash to invest and expand. That creates a surge in high-paying tech and construction jobs. And those new tax breaks on overtime? Well, they encourage all those new workers to put in more hours. It's like a perfect engine for creating wealth in one specific place.
But that boom, that's only half the story. Now we have to leave that shining city behind and turn to the immense pressure that's building in Idaho's other half, its sprawling rural heartland.
And if you want to understand that pressure, you just need to know one number: 65. Under the new law, that's the new age that adults without dependents have to meet work requirements just to get food assistance. It used to be 49. Just imagine for a second you're an older, unemployed adult in a tiny town where there are hardly any jobs. This new rule isn't just another hurdle. For many, it's a wall.
And this is the really crucial point. Folks in rural Idaho are getting caught in a double squeeze. On one side, you have OBBA pulling away the social safety net that they might rely on, and at the exact same time, the threat of AI-driven automation in agriculture, the very lifeblood of these towns, is just starting to loom on the horizon.
And these aren't just short-term problems. The projections showed these trends getting worse and locking in over the next 15 years, creating a future of two starkly and maybe permanently different Idahos.
Here's how the timeline is expected to play out. By 2028, those temporary tax breaks for individuals, they're gone. But by then, Boise's boom is so big it's basically self-sustaining. Then, you jump to 2035, and AI and farming is everywhere, displacing rural jobs on a massive scale. And the end result? By 2040, the split is complete. You have a wealthy, high-tech urban center and a rural landscape that's been hollowed out by job loss.
And look, this isn't just some long-term forecast. The impact starts right away. A national analysis of this law projected that by 2027, the top 1% of households would see their after-tax income go up by about $5,000. But the poorest 20%, they're projected to lose over $1,600, mostly because of cuts to benefits. So the law, just by its design, starts widening the gap from day one.
The source material we're drawing from puts the human cost in really blunt terms. It says, by 2040, an Idahoan born in a remote rural town to a poor family would have far fewer opportunities and a lower standard of living than one born in urban Boise to tech sector parents. Basically, your entire future could be decided just by which part of Idaho you happen to be born in.
You know, seeing this divergence really takes us beyond just economics. It forces us to ask a much, much deeper question. In an age where technology is disrupting everything, what does a fair society even look like anymore?
To think about that, we can actually use this powerful idea from a philosopher named John Rawls. It's called the veil of ignorance. It's a thought experiment. Imagine you get to design the rules for a brand new society. The only catch is you have to do it from behind a veil. You have no idea if you're going to be born rich or poor, in booming Boise or in a struggling rural town. What kind of rules would you make then?
When you're behind that veil, the whole calculation changes, right? Suddenly, OBB's hands-off approach, the one that favors businesses and has a minimal safety net, looks incredibly risky. You'd probably lean more toward what's called a Rawlsian approach, a system with a really robust safety net, with universal access to retraining, designed specifically to protect the people who get displaced by technology. Because, hey, from behind that veil, that person could easily be you.
And this, really, brings us to the single most important takeaway from all of this. The rise of AI can feel totally inevitable, like a force of nature we can't control. But technology is not destiny. Our future isn't going to be written by some algorithm. It's going to be written by the policies we choose to put in place. It's a choice.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. The technology is here, it's getting more powerful every single day. The debate isn't about whether we can stop it, it's about how we manage it. So, as AI continues its relentless advance, who will our policies choose to protect? That is the choice that is going to define our future.